Hello, this is Perri Mink, and I am live right now on YouTube. I haven't been on my YouTube channel for, I believe, 2 years was my last YouTube video. It is Sunday, September 3rd, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. and this is new to me, this setup for YouTube, and I'm live. This is my first live YouTube video. So, um, what am I going to be discussing today? This is a news update, and I have not given a news update on YouTube regarding the horrific situation at hand here in Martinez, California, in Contra Costa County, in the San Francisco Bay Area. We are located in central Contra Costa County in the East Bay. I wanted to start with this. I didn't think that, it didn't dawn on me, let's put it that way. It didn't dawn on me that there would be a group of people from and I want to be considerate in how I explain this. So the word that I'm using is secularized Jew. It's not limited to that. And it turns out that about 3 years ago, not 3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago. Some of you may remember I made an 11 branch, King Solomon's 11 branch menorah, and it was at that time that I began to expand my horizons, if you will. And where was this coming from? Because I did not recognize the judges at Contra Costa County Courthouse, as well as Jeffrey Tauber from Alameda County, as being Jewish. And it turns out that they are, in addition to some others. Some of you may remember my case. It's regarding my pug, Elvira, Mink versus Encina Veterinary Clinic, Incorporated et al. That case is about my property, very clearly, property rights. Your money is your property, your dog is your property. It's an ironclad slam dunk case. I'm being terrorized regularly. About 3 years ago, I started realizing that there's a Jewish sect, if you will, that's infiltrated into our government system and our legal system in particular. And they are vehemently, very violently denying me my rights, as well as harming people that I haven't seen for a long time, including my family members. Okay, some of you may be wondering about my what's on my neck. My health is deteriorating again because I don't have rights. I'm still trapped here at 1624 LaSalle Street in Martinez, California. And just the beginning part of July, which is now 2 months ago, they illegally entered this unit, which is pretty scary. So what I wanted to bring up was this was surprising to me. I happened to come across this again. Some of you may know about this. This is from the Rossmore News, and the date is October 13th, 2010. And I saw this in here, and I didn't know what that was, but it shocked me because some of you, just very quickly, the judge on the case, Mink versus Insane Veterinary Clinic Incorporated et al., claimed that I was a violent person, that I was a threat to her and her family, a threat to her clerk and their family, a threat to the people at the courthouse and their family too. There was no such thing. She then proceeded to lie and lied to the sheriff's department, and they came to my sanctuary home and they arrested me and they kidnapped me and they took me to what they call the Jilton, which is West County Detention Facility. That's a nickname from the Hilton Hotel. To make a long story short, I had to use just bravery and consistently applying our law. And twice they kidnapped me. Twice they kidnapped me, and I was able to get out. But they put me into this program called Behavior Health Court Program, which I did not need. And but it turned out that there were already Jewish judges that were denying me my rights, and those were Judge Harlan Grossman, Judge Claire Mayer, Judge Jeffrey Tauber. There were others. Commissioner Judith Sanders was already the ex parte commissioner in the case, the civil case. So some of you may have been keeping up and on Twitter, my posts on Twitter, and notice that I posted about this, and I had found a trailer of this documentary. But what shocked me was that in the Behavior Health Court program, the case manager was going, yoo-hoo, 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 like that. And it wasn't just her, there were others too from the government. And I realize now that they were mocking Jews. Some of you may know that I've always protected Jews. I've been studying the Holy Bible since around 1989. And I've been practicing a bona fide religion since that time. And when you really study the Holy Bible from a living Bible method, if you will, the teachings, the studying, the applications, you know that Jesus is Jewish, and that during that time, Jesus was speaking to Jews, and that he was, and the people during that time knew that there was pending doom on the Jews, and that it was coming from Rome. So what is this about? This you? It's a documentary about this woman who is very popular, apparently here in the United States, and she had a radio show and it says that it was radio and television from 1930s to the 50s. And when I watched that trailer, it was exactly what those women and the men are doing to me. They're exploiting me, and then they're forcing people, when I go to the stores, if I can get out, most of the time I cannot get out, and I'm trapped in here most of the month. But I try to get out once or twice a month, but it's that dangerous. And they would go after me, uh, terrorizing me in the community and anybody that provided services for me. But what they reflect is this woman in here, and her name is Gertrude Berg, but the program was called um, Mrs. Goldberg, Yoo-hoo Mrs. Goldberg. And what is she doing? Well, she's acting. That was what was important to her, putting on an act. And her program apparently was influencing people to buy things. And that's what they're doing to me. So rather than create justice in the legal system, which is my right, that's what the legal system is for, they are following me. As a matter of fact, reminder to a lot of you, this unit is rigged. There's surveillance cameras all throughout this unit. It's a one bedroom with this cubbyhole room, and there's cameras in the bathroom, in this room, in the kitchen. I've tried to cover most of them up, but there's so many in the ceiling, in the walls, in the cracks of the doorways that it's very difficult for me to locate every single one of them just based on a pinhole-sized, um, hole in the wall. Even the wall in the bathroom seems like it's a double mirror type wall, something that I've not, known anything about. But when you tap on it, it just sounds hollow in there. It does not sound like a regular wall. So I finally covered that up about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. Some of you may know I owned a condominium. That is why I moved to this community. This is in Pleasant Hill, California, not too far from the Diablo Valley College. Some of you may know about that. Some of you also know that I did the home improvements to my condominium. I posted quite a few times. This is something that I purchased, and the women in the government claim that I'm some type of, and they're using derogatory phrases against me. And then they come around me in the community and they start making obscene sounds. Also, some of you may know that this was my friend for quite some time since college. I met him in college when I was attending the Academy of Art College. The relationship went on through around, I want to say 1995, I believe it was, 1994. This was the car that I drove. It's a 1998 Toyota Corolla that my mom bought for me. It did not come from a man. I was not sexualizing and then received a car, and then that was like that was the result. I took care of the car, taking it to the dealership for the service there, as well as other places, and paying for that service. There was only a few people for my 1964 Ford Falcon, which some of you know they destroyed, and some of those, um, like the repairs were very minimal, and that has nothing to do with my civil case, but they're claiming that the car is not mine. My sister bought it for me. My 1964 Ford Falcon was bought by my oldest sister, Christine. She bought it for me in California, and then I came down on leave. I was in the United States Navy, and then I came down on leave, and then I picked it up and drove it back to where I was stationed. And they keep claiming that that's not my car. I sent a, jumping forward because I want to make sure that, let's see, I've been on now for 15 minutes and I want to just make this maybe about a 20-minute video. Some of you may know through the last 2 years, quite a few Angelic Law Saints have come forward. They are brought by Gerhard and Cathy Demut and my mom, who are this comes from the Holy Bible. This is the NIV. I'm sorry, the New King James Version. Sorry. This one I just bought recently, which is helping me to understand about the Hebrew translation into English. I've had this for a long time. This teaches about some of the issues, including the feminism that they're teaching. That means that, and let's see if it's right here. I didn't know if I was going to bring this up. It says that it's on, okay, I was not too far off. So right here, this is the section on feminism theology. And it says the prophets. So it's right here. The prophets. And it says, I'll just have to read it because I can't read it from there. The prophets more fully reveal God's passion for justice, but not human justice, which means that they don't see me as a human, which more often than not gives advantage to the powerful. God's justice is above politics and society. And again, the option is preferential toward the poor and oppressed, the outcast and the stranger over those in power who more often than not create rather than alleviate injustice. There's other parts of it here that says that Christians do not believe that God has a sex. I talked about that a little bit. It says, well, traditionally, so this down here, while traditionally God has been spoken of in masculine language, present-day feminist theology is opening our eyes to the wealth of feminine imagery for God in the scriptures. And then again, it says Christians do not believe that God has a sex, which has to do with that you don't identify, because they teach you in this religion, this sect, that you are God, as you are God, not God is a higher power. You yourself are God, which means that you're not going to recognize somebody else doesn't have a gender, which is what they did to me in court. So again, the Angelic Law Saints have been coming forward on our behalf. It is in the Bible. It is in the Holy Bible. And I'm being ignored. But I did find out that a lot of these people in the government are Jewish, and they're denying us our rights, including myself. So here it is right here. This is one of the scripture. This is Deuteronomy 33. It's right in here. So it says, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand came a fiery law for them. And the most recent Angelic Law Saints that have come to us are Selena. Some of you know Selena, the Tex-Mex singer. She's been coming forward on behalf of my middle sister Mona because they've harmed her so much. and you can see the Yolanda Saldivar has the same mentality as this Barbara Zuniga. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Spafford they've come to us recently too, Angelic Law Saints. He was a lawyer in Chicago, Illinois during 1870. Around that time frame, they were living in Illinois. And some of you know, he wrote the song, I can't remember it again right now, it's a hymn. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And they were going on vacation. He had a business situation that he had to tend to, so his wife and 4 daughters went ahead of him, and the boat, there was some type of ship, had a collision, and then the 4 daughters passed away, but she survived, Mrs. Spafford, and she sent a telegram to Mr. Spafford, and then that spoke to me, and I found a way to send a telegram to the United States government recently, but I did not get a response. I did not get an appropriate response, and instead, this woman from the VA, HUD VASH program, came over here to terrorize me, and so I'm still being terrorized. I know that there are people out there that you have been praying sincerely and genuinely, but there are people like Manjit Zapal, some of you know who I'm talking about. He has been mocking me with this David Livingston here. David Livingston is the sheriff deputy, and Manjit Zapal was the police chief here in Martinez. But one of the council members, they call her the mayor, her name is Diana Elise Zorn, but it turns out, it took me a while to investigate, she's actually Jewish, and her maiden name is Cohen, and so that's pretty scary, because she's also been terrorizing, and there needs to be most wanted signs, because your property is your property, your house is your house, my house is my house, and my house was in Concord, California, and technically it could be called a tiny home on wheels. It was an older mobile home, but technically it's a tiny home on wheels. They demolished it, and so the settlement would be a monetary settlement. So I could go on with my life, and then I would purchase my home, a replacement home, and they have not done anything of the sort. Some of you know that I've been practicing what's called Judeo-Christianity. I refer to it as covenanted Christian since 1989. I'm independent, and some of you may know I've been estranged from my family members since around 1992, and they have been terrorizing them. How do I know that? Because they had people contact me that I didn't even contact. 2 of them were from my immediate family, my oldest sister Christine and her daughter Monique. I didn't contact them. All of a sudden, it was just cut off, and I've not been able to find out if they're okay or not. And so I'm giving this news release because there's hate crimes going on out there. Some of you may know around the United States, there was another shooting in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, with a man named, his name is, I'm trying to think of his name right now. It starts with a P, and he shot 3 black people, African Americans, at Dollar General store, and they immediately made a public statement, the law enforcement, and they're against hate crimes. I'm still being terrorized. It is a hate crime, but it's also sectarian violence. And so far, I am not getting any protection at all, none at all. I want to remind you that these are secular Jews this Brianna Elise Cohen, when you investigate her, she is like connected to 666, which is devil. This Harlan Grossman, he uh, acknowledges himself as a Republican Jew, and he was born in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And he is a terrorist. I saw him in person at the courthouse. Julie Weeks was the other Encina victim, and he was scary, absolutely frightening, just frightening. Also, this Claire Mayer, she too is Jewish. She's the secularized Jew, and she was the judge in the criminal case, but she was already summoned. And again, you had to see her face. I had to cite law on my own, even though they had appointed this attorney named Jane Elliott. These are all white people, with the exception of Diana Becton. And this is sectarian violence. And they will not acknowledge that I am practicing Judeo-Christianity. And it does not teach you in the New Testament to go out into society and attack Jews at all. But they are attacking me. Thank you for listening. I went over by about 6-7 minutes. So I want to thank you again. And my family members' lives are in danger, as well as other people that I've known. It's very difficult for me to even go out. And when I do, they start terrorizing the store clerks, the bus driver, somebody that I might have said hello to on the way to the bus stop. They have neighbors here, all sides, attacking me, terrorizing me regularly. Thank you for listening.